Rory, I said it before. I said it last Sunday. I can't, and I'm at external to Chelsea, but I can't help but really like Liam Rosenior. He's a young British manager. He speaks brilliantly. He's passionate about the game, mate. I know he's not the marquee. He's not.
I don't get it. Majestic, I want you to be right. Of course I do. I desperately want to agree with you, and I desperately want to sort of enhance your words. But I don't get it. I honestly believe it's the most undeserving managerial appointment I can think of. I can't think of a managerial appointment in British football history that is less deserving. Liam Rosenior, who has Strasbourg 7th in League 1, never managed in the Premier League, a fairly uninspiring playing career, has been dropped headfirst into one of the biggest clubs, managers' hot seats in the country. I can't be enthusiastic about
World Club champions.
Exactly. Therefore, why has Liam Rosenior got the job? But never ever has a manager got a job that has been less deserving of the job. Never. Like, Chelsea would always appoint top-tier managers under Abramovich. You know the comparison that came earlier in the show? We had a caller that said that there was a comparison between what happened under Abramovich and what is happening under the Blue Co ownership. And it's so far from the mark. And you can make the point with regard to managers. When Chelsea were good under Abramovich, think who we used to sign managers from. We would go and we would get Jose Mourinho because he won the European Cup with Porto. We would go and we would get Carlo Ancelotti, the serial European Cup winner, even when it didn't work. Even managers that weren't good. Luis Felipe Scolari was mentioned in the newsbreak because we beat Portsmouth 4-0 under his first under the first game in charge with him. Even though it was a disastrous appointment that didn't work, at least the motivation was good. He won the World Cup with Brazil. Now, under Blueco, we appoint managers from where? Leicester.
Yep.
We appoint managers from Brighton. And now we appoint managers from Strasbourg, a team that's 7th in League 1.
So you didn't like his post-match comments there?
I mean, it felt very David Brent to me.
Very David Brent?
Felt very David Brent, didn't you think?
Cider, Frenza.
Yeah, exactly.
Lager.
Yeah.
The lap.
Yeah.
Me.
Exactly.
Saturday night, anything goes.
Yeah, different drinks for different needs.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's... Look, I hope to be...
Mate, I like him. And you know what? As a young British manager... And we don't have many of them get chances nowadays. We see. Listen, I know what you're saying. The fact of the matter is, it's Chelsea. It's not Brighton. If he went into Brighton, for example, you'd be like, "It's a great appointment." You know what I mean? Young, like.
No, I wouldn't. Honestly, I honestly wouldn't say that. If he went into West Bromwich Albion, I would say it was a good appointment for the Baggies. If he went into Cardiff City, I would say it was a good appointment for Cardiff City. If he went into a Premier League club, I would say, what is that Premier League club doing? The fact that he's gone into a Premier League club who are in the Champions League. What should be one of the most ambitious Premier League clubs in the country. I'd love it to work. I'd love him to win us a league title. But I don't really see that happening.
Got a message here. Rory's on one tonight. What about Vincent Kompany? That's from Vince.
There's always an anomaly. What about Mikel Arteta? But if you were going to use the one example or the odd example, the anomaly example that proves a rule, like if you say, let's not sack a manager, because it took Mikel Arteta time. You persevere with managers because Mikel Arteta was persevered with and Arsenal have paid dividends on that. You are going to back a lot of wrong managers because there is one example of it working out. Like Arsenal fans, they think it worked out with Mikel Arteta, but they wouldn't have said, we should have given Bruce Rioch longer. We should have given Unai Emery longer. It's worked for Arteta because Arteta is the man that it worked for. Doesn't mean it's a rule that works for everyone.
Tell you what, Luke from South Africa. Big shout out to Luke listening as always. Thank you, mate. He's not having it with you, Rory. He's a Chelsea fan.
You reckon?
He's just saying.
He's swearing. You can't read it out.
Yeah. He said. He just said in wonderful words of Homer Simpson, boring. Let's go to the phone lines before we talk more Villa and Tottenham. Let's talk about the FA Cup and its magic. Macclesfield. Yeah. Knocking out the holders of the FA Cup. Let's go over to Tom, the Crystal Palace fan. He was at the game today. How are we, Tom?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you, boys?
Yeah, not bad. Obviously, a great season for you last year. And, of course, finished with the Charity Shield win, the Community Shield, should I say. That was your cup. You're now out of it. Can't defend it anymore. Yeah. How are you feeling?
Not good. I said to a few people this morning, a few of my mates saying, what do you reckon, predictions and stuff? And I thought we'd win comfortably, and there's no excuses from me. We loved the FA Cup. Our run last season was fantastic. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of the FA Cup anyway, regardless of last season. And yeah, I mean, I'm gutted. Obviously, they were saying it's like the biggest upset in terms of the places between the two teams.
Something like 155 places, isn't it?
Thanks, mate.
Also, it's non-league. It's symbolically, it's non-league opposition knocking out the holders.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's the fact that they're the holders.
Tom,
do you know what? No excuses. We were diabolical today, and the manager's come out and he said exactly the same. And for me, some of those players should never wear the shirt again. I'm not talking about your Whartons. Wharton had a bad game. No one had a good game. But the trouble is with Palace this season, we didn't invest in the summer when we won the FA Cup. We knew we had more games because of Europe.
Yeah.
And what that means is we made 5 changes today, right, from our league draw against a very good Villa side, by the way. So we've got a draw against Villa on Wednesday. Villa, who in the last 15 games have only lost once and dropped points once, and that was against Arsenal. And then we turn up at Macclesfield, and all credit to Macclesfield, they were brilliant. They'd done a classic FA Cup job. But the point I want to make, we can't afford, like we should be able to make 4 or 5 changes in a game like this and know we're going to win. Because it's like bare 11. Like beyond the 11 that start for us, he doesn't trust any of the players.
No.
And that's a really big problem for me. And that, it does go back to the board and that, and
Tom, does it worry you? Of course, you've lost Emirates Eze, right? Gale, it's obviously he's gone. It could be this.
I think he will.
Yeah, it could be this transfer window, even right.
I think so.
You know, Wharton, everyone's eyeing him up as well. Do you think this could really? And the manager's being reluctant to sign a new deal. This amazing run that Crystal Palace have been on over the last couple of years. Are you scared that that's coming towards an end? And there seems
I am. There's two points again, just briefly, I want to make on that. So we've always been a selling club, right? I mean, I've been a Palace supporter long enough that I saw us at the bottom of the Championship. 10-point deduction on the brink of abyss, right? So I sort of take a step back sometimes when I'm frustrated and think, look, we're in a good position. But I don't think Glasner stays longer than the end of the season at best.
I'd agree with that.
I think we're kind of our own worst enemy, and if we had backed him, possibly. The only way I think he might stay is if we can win the Conference League and we get Europa League. But going back to the other side of that question, we've always been a selling club. We've always had to sell our best players, and we sold we sold Zaha eventually. We sold Elise.
I remember buying Chrissy Armstrong off you. That was a record-breaking deal for Spurs at the time when he was like the top striker.
Yeah, that's a bit before my time. But yeah, the point being, look, we're Crystal Palace, right? Players are going to come to us, and they are going to, if they are great and they develop and they perform, they're going to go on to want to play for bigger clubs, bigger stadiums, bigger level, and I've got no problem with that. So I don't think it's the end of the world. We'll rebuild as we always have, but we're never going to have it as good as I can't see us getting a better manager than Glasner. That's my worry.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's a great shout. Thank you very much, Tom, the Crystal Palace fan. Just quickly on that, looking at say Semenyo going from Bournemouth to Manchester City, and you look at what they sold in the summer with the defenders and stuff, to Liverpool, Real Madrid, PSG, etc. Do you think, the last couple of years in the Premier League's been really tight, Forest up there, Palace up there, Bournemouth, everyone. Do you think that now those players that really were making the difference at those clubs have been seen and the spotlight's been on them, they're all moving on?
Yeah.
That we're going to see that sort of divide again? Yeah,
potentially, although I do think that the recruitment at certain clubs is so good.
So good, yeah. Look at Brentford with Thiago.
Exactly, that they'll be coming through. Do you know what, just before we move on, Madge, I just think we just have to acknowledge Crystal Palace, not a good day for them, but morally, they did a brilliant thing here. They donated their share of the gate receipts to Macclesfield.
Love that.
Which I thought was huge. And they also donated the television money. So it's a lot of money that has gone into the pockets of Macclesfield, which is huge. Over 120 grand from the TV alone.
Yeah, that's brilliant stuff.
So good work from Palace.